Hey everybody, it's Joey Hartman here, coming to you live from Lincoln, Nebraska. So thanks for being here with me today. I have a really cute fun fold that anybody's going to love to make. So whether you're a beginning crafter or an experienced one, this is a really fun one and it's super easy. So I want to just go ahead before I get started on this and see if I can see any comments coming in yet. It always takes Facebook and YouTube a moment to let people know that I'm coming live. So with that in mind, I chit chat for a little bit. Let me make sure that you say hello when you come on. I'm trying to find the comments here and see if anybody's saying hi yet. So just make sure you say hello whether you're watching live or a replay. I'd love to know that you're with me today and we're doing some crafting together and that we're going to visit together. Okay, Jamie's here. Awesome. And Georgia's here. So it is coming up live now on, it looks like they're both watching from YouTube. And Julie's on YouTube. Let me know where you're watching from. I always have this issue that I'm afraid it won't go live on Facebook because sometimes it doesn't, even though I have everything set up. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and let's get started on our project today. Georgia's YouTube. Hi, Susan. Welcome. Nancy, hello. You're from Traverse City, Michigan. Awesome. Okay, so happy to have you here with me today, friends. I'm going to click down to my desktop and I'm going to get going on this now that I know that you can see me. The card we're going to make today, I don't know what it's really called. I'm just calling it a pop-up card, which doesn't give you any real information on it, other than there's something special in the middle. So when you open that, you have this cute little, you can see it from the side, this cute little jar, cookie jar, Christmas cookie jar pops up. So I'm going to show you how to make this. If you know me, you know that I don't usually do complicated projects. So when I'm doing a pop-up card like this, you know that it has to be easy. So that's that you can be confident of that. Now, for the directions for this, the written directions, I'm going to send this very detailed PDF to my to anyone who puts in any size of an order this week. So even a $20 order, any size order will get the whole PDF tutorial. I have more. This one isn't finished. I have more photos to add to it. But in the steps wise for this, I have 18 steps. Now, to just let you know how unusual that is for my PDFs. Usually my cards and projects have like 8 to maybe 10 on a really over-the-top one instructions, but there are a lot of instructions for this. So I'm going to make this available to you if you make a purchase this week. I have on the screen here stampingwithjoey.stampinup.net. That is where you can find me, my online store. Or if it's easier to remember, createwithjoey.com, you can jump over there. That's my blog. And I do have the measurements of the parts I'm using today, but you can see how detailed this is. But if you just want the measurements and you want to follow along with the video, then you can just do that too. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and let's do some stamping first, actually. So I'm gonna get out a piece of scrap paper here. Well, I guess I should show you what we're using today. That might be helpful. So we're using the Jar of Joy stamp set today. This coordinates with the sweet, it's called the Sweet Jar Punch. Sweet Jar, yeah, Sweet Jar Punch. Showing my light in the reflection, but I think you can kind of see you have the shape of the jar, obviously, and then the lid, and it punches out both of those. Maybe it's easier to see from the back. So we're going to make several cute jars, and we're going to fill them with some of these really fun things today. Now, this is a bundle. The Sweet Jar Bundle. It's an online exclusive, so you're not going to find it in gosh, can't really see this. There's so much glare. It's so nice to stamp in front of a window, but it does just so much glare. So That being, if you want to purchase them as a bundle, you can get a 10% discount on them. But if you just want like just the Christmas set and the stamp separately, you can stamp set, you can buy those, and the punch, you can buy those separately as well. This has like birthday. It also has kind of a fun shamrock, which we don't have a lot for St. Patrick's Day usually in our catalog. But it's got birthday wishes. Here's some chocolate chip cookies you can put in your jar, some hearts. So this is kind of an all-year stamp set, actually. But we are going to do Christmas today. I'm going to show you how well it coordinates with the punch for a Christmas project. Okay, I said we were going to stamp some jars, and we are going to do that. So we're going to stamp... let's see, we need a couple of jars. I'm going to start with Balmy Blue ink. I thought Balmy Blue was a good color for the jar itself. You could use Pool Party, you could use Smoky Slate. Well, you can use obviously Memento Black if you want to too. Just looking for my my stamp. Now, when you're going to punch something with a shaped punch, it's good sometimes to see how is this going to go through my my punch. So we can see that the punch is going to, the punch opens from this end, and then we're going to slide our paper in like this. Now I made the mistake yesterday. My team made 4 cards last night with this at my team meeting, and I didn't tell them to turn their cardstock sideways. I just didn't think of it. And so some of them they stamp their jars going down like this. But if you have multiples with a punch, you want to stamp it going this way on the punch so that you can just keep punching and not have to stop and tear your paper, etc., etc. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so I'm going to do one jar. This is going to be for the front of our card, and then I'm going to do one for the inside. So I'm going to stamp those, put them a little bit apart, and then I'm going to, let me think what I want to do next. Okay, so let's not, we're going to stamp some things in our jars, so I'm trying to think that through. Let's go ahead and stamp the greeting. We're going to use Old Olive ink for the greeting on the front of our card, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp, ink up rather, wishing you the sweetest Christmas, which I love that. I'm stamping on my Stampin' Pierce mat. This is, you can use it for piercing, but you can also use it for stamping your photopolymer stamps. I'm trying to not get my head in here, but I have to kind of see how to fit this in. So wishing you the sweetest Christmas. Now I'm going to stamp that same greeting, only I'm going to stamp it in cherry cobbler ink because we're going to do a little bit of paper piecing here, so to speak. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to grab this very tiny piece of basic white. This is a 1/16 bigger than a 1/4. So I don't know really what that is, but I found that was kind of the best size. And I'm trying to avoid getting the Christmas on. Not that it's going to show here. That's why I made my my strip of paper so thin. So, but you know, you could just stamp this on any scrap paper of white. Let's see if I got this well enough. And then got to get my head over this too, so sorry about that. And then now I got a little bit of the sea of the Christmas on there, but well, let's see if I can do it again and just do it just a tiny bit higher, and then I don't have to, or lower, I guess I would need to be a little bit lower. That's the beauty of photopolymer stamps. You can see, so when you're see right through the block. So there are pros and cons to both photopolymer and red rubber, but this is one of the great things about photopolymer. Okay, so we're going to call that good. And I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors, and I'm just going to, I think I'm just going to cut this straight actually. So I'm going to hold it up so I can see it. As I started to say, you could just stamp this on any piece of scrap paper and then just trim it out with your scissors. That would work too. Okay, so we're going to do this, but let's go ahead and set that aside. Let's go ahead and punch this one out because we've already got it stamped for what we want in it. And since we went this way, we're not going to waste any of our paper. I'm just centering it in my punch. I'm going to punch it out. Now, if you are commenting, just know that I'm not ignoring you, but once I start my video, I can't see the comments unless I bring everything up on my computer, which I do periodically as I take a little break so that I can see what you're saying, because I know a lot of comments go by that I miss. Now, for the sake of time on this as well, we're going to stamp our lid 3 times. This is a little lid stamp. My glass mat always makes it noisy, doesn't it, when I'm trying to think. Do I want this at the again, I'm trying to look at my stamp. Okay, so now I think I want this at the bottom of my paper here to go through my punch. I said stamp, but I meant punch. And we're going to do 3 of these. Now, if you were doing better with paper saving, you wouldn't have this big of a piece. You would have a much more narrow one. All you need, this is as wide too. That might be too close together, we'll see. But we need 3 lids for this card. So when you're making multiples of something, especially if you're making multiple cards, you want to go ahead and do everything that you can do in one pass through instead of getting your stamp out 3 different times, getting your ink pad out 3 different times when you're going to be doing the exact same thing. Okay, so now we've got our lids all stamped. I have my little tray here to the side, so I'm putting everything that I have punched out off to the side. Okay, now let's go ahead and assemble our jar. So there's a very narrow edge here that you want to use to put on your glue. I am going to get out my, oh my gosh, I never remember this. If you've watched me before, you know that I absolutely never remember. I think now I have a block about remembering the name of this. Come on. This silicone mat. That's it. Why is that so hard? I don't know. It seems to be, for me, it seems to be a challenge remembering. And I'm going to go ahead and get this little lid lined up here on our jar. Such a cute little jar. So many cute things you can put in it. So you can put a snowman in it. I'll show you my team cards in a moment. We did Christmas in July this month at my team meeting. Let's see. This is the one I think I want to use. Now there is a little tiny piece of red right there, but I think I can probably narrowly just clip that off. My rope or my cut won't be straight across, but that's all right. That's good. That's good enough. We're going to call this good. Luckily, we're not doing brain surgery. We're just making a card, so we don't have to be exactly perfect on this. Although I know a lot of us are perfectionists, but sometimes you have to let go of that. I am a perfectionist, but I try to let go of that so it doesn't take away the joy of just crafting. Okay, so there's our jar for the front. Let's go ahead now and put our card base together. Alrighty, so as I said, this is very simple. This is just like your normal cut of half a piece of cardstock. So it's cut at 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish the score line there, and then we're just going to go ahead and decorate the front of this. Now for the front, I used a little piece I showed this last week, and we're using this in my Christmas in July stamp big event at the end of July, July 29th, 30th, and 31. If you didn't pre-order a kit, you're not out of luck, because we're doing this on live on Facebook. I joined with two of my friends, Ali Gomez and Julie Salva, two of my good stamping friends, and we did a whole group of 9 projects with the bundle that this is in. This is a Jolly Holly bundle. I'm stalling because I can't find my tape runner. Here we go. And I see this is just about out, so I might end up putting in a new refill while we're on today. Anyway, we used this for our July 29, 30, and 31 event. Put that on your calendar. I'll be live at 12:30 all 3 days in a row with 3 projects every day with the Holly Jolly bundle. Okay, now you're like, where is that paper? Why are you using that with Christmas? Well, that's a good question. I was just looking for any paper that had both red and green in it. And actually, there's a little bit of blue in this, which I picked up from my blue jar. So you might think that, I'm not sure that really goes together for a Christmas card, and you might not be wrong about that. But that's what we're using for today. And then we're going to put our sweet little jar on top of this. I'm just going to grab some dimensionals. And I did mean to get out a new pack of dimensionals. Hopefully I've got one in my drawer. I have a drawer next to my desk. It's not where I store all my adhesives, but I do keep extra adhesives in it for times like this. Hopefully the last time I took dimensionals out of it, I replaced them. Oh, we have one more thing to do here. Whoops. We're a little out of order. We're going to put some ribbon on the front of this, and I'm just going to make it a little bit longer than the jar. So I'm just going to double it over like so. And I'm going to make a little loop there, and then I'm going to cut that off with my ribbon scissors like so. And then what I meant to do before I put my dimensionals on was to get this taped down. For the sake of not putting adhesive on the back of my jar for the ribbon before I did this, I'm going to grab some tear and tape. Okay, come on, Joey. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Tear and tape is just that. It's two-sided tape that you can tear. So I'm going to go ahead and just tear it. And we're just going to tape down our ribbon. Let's tape it in 2 places. We'll just tape it there on the edge. Now this would have been a little easier if I just would have done this before we did our dimensionals, but if you've watched me live before, you know that sometimes we don't go in the best order, but we always get her done. Alrighty, so that ribbon is called Gold Striped Mesh Ribbon. Lots of words in that description. It's one of my very favorite ribbons that we have right now, and really, we don't even have to take off the tear and tape there. We can just go ahead and get this on the front of our card like so. Okay, there we go. So there's the front of our card. Easy enough. Now, if you're a beginning stamper, you can stop there and put your greeting on the inside, but we're going to make this really fancy. So now we're going to take a piece of basic white. This one measures 3 3/4 by 10 1/2, I hope. That's what it's supposed to measure. Yep, that's what it does measure. I have scored this at 3 1/4, 5 1/4, and 7 1/4. And as I said, you can find all those measurements on my blog. And then if you put in any size order this week, you'll be getting it in a PDF tutorial that I'll send right to you. Now I have to think for a moment. Okay, this goes this way. Let me figure this out first, and then I'll tell you what to do. So this goes this way, this goes this way, and then, is that right? Wait a minute. That pops up. have to look at my sample here for a minute. We're going to make a W. Yeah, that was right. So then we go like, is that right? Goes like this. It's going to go in our card like that. Okay. So you might have had to look away for a moment. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure I crease. Whoops, this got crooked in all my haste to get that right. So just make sure you match up your ends. That's going to be important. What I mean by that is match up these ends, because that'll be important as to how your card lays on the inside of your base card. Okay, let's see. Let's do a little more stamping here. I'm going to get my mat back out, and we're going to actually stamp a jar on the inside of the card. We'll do that first. Let me grab the greetings. There's some fun greetings in this. So we have the one we just used on the front, and then we have may your heart be filled with joy and sending a jar full of cheer. So actually using all three greetings on this today. So let's grab the Old Olive ink, and we'll put this greeting, let's see, sending a jar full of cheer. I'll make sure this is clean. Hang on, I think it's clean. I meant to, yeah. You know, when they become stained from red ink, you just never can be 100% sure you haven't cleaned it. I'm just inking this up gently, just tap, tap, tapping real easily. And then I'm going to put this right at that fold line. And then this will be the part where we're going to write on it. Sending a jar full of cheer, and then I'm going to pull out my jar stamp again. We're going to once again stamp in the blue ink. Okay, let's get that balmy blue again, and then we're just going to put a little jar down here in the corner like so. And then we're going to put some ornaments inside of this jar. So I'm going to grab this little ornament stamp. And let me show you one of the cards we made last night. I'll show you all of them at the end of the video. But see this little tiny bow? Isn't that cute? That is a separate stamp. So I'm just going to use the ornaments today, and we're going to stamp those in Cherry Cobbler. This would be a card for a very special person in your life. At least it will be for me, because I don't do a lot of fun folds for Christmas cards, because I send out quite a few Christmas cards. So this will have to go to a very special person on my list. Not that everybody isn't really special on my list, but you know what I'm saying. I know I can't make 100 of these, or I won't make 100 of these. And I send out usually around 100 cards. Alrighty, now we're going to go ahead, and I think I'll put the glue just on, this time I'm going to put it right on the lid. Just remember, a little dab will do you on these when you're using liquid glue. So let me just pick that up and hold it by the top. We'll put our little lid on there, on our jar. So there's a little bit more dimension on the jar on the inside, but we didn't have to punch a jar. And then, you know, I wouldn't want to pop it up on the inside of a card, so it just would make my card thicker and harder to mail. So I don't really want to do that. Okay, now we have a little more stamping for the inside. Let me get out the rest of my bits here. I have two panels here that are going to go in these two places right here. These measure 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. Well, that should be 3 3/4. Right? What? Yeah, I guess that's right. Is this the same? Yeah. Okay. I think I meant to make those shorter. Let's see what our red one is. Let's see if I did that. This one goes at the top here. Yeah, I should have made these a little bit shorter here. I wonder if I made my white piece too narrow. Oh my gosh, you guys. Yes, I did. Okay. Well, we've already got this part done. So what we're going to do for this card, darn. All right, we're going to do this. I'm just going to gently pull this off. Whoops, tearing the paper now. That's right, we can make it work. And I'm going to redo this because I want it to be right in the video instead of not right. And then that actually gives me a chance to show you how to do this base part anyway from scratch, which would not be a bad idea to show you anyway. And we hadn't gotten too far, so let's go ahead. We can quickly redo that. Sorry about that. This won't take me very long. Here we go. I'm going to grab my trimmer. Now I'm going to go to 4 instead of 3 3/4. So ignore what I said earlier. Hopefully you're still watching if you just started it and then thought, okay, I've got the measurements, I'm good to go. So we're going to go 4, and then we're going to go 10 1/2, cut it 10 1/2 the other way. So our trimmers open up so we can go all the way to actually 17, but all we need is 10 1/2. So here's 10 1/2. I'm going to trim that off. And now we'll do our scoring. The scoring was all right. So if you lost at the beginning, the scoring measurements I know are right. So this goes to 3 1/4. And now just make sure you have your scoring blade on our trimmers is the light gray one. So I'm just going to go to light gray, score that. Then I'm going, that was 3 1/4. I'm going to 5 1/4. And then I'm going to go to, open this back up. I should have left it open. 7 1/4. Okay. Lord willing, I got this one right. Okay, I think I did. Okay, a little sidebar here today, but as I've said before, sometimes when we're going to make a W, so I'm going to go this way first. Probably do better the second time anyway because I've already gone through this part once, and then this part's going to fold back, and then this part is also going to come forward. And by a W, this is what I mean, like this. Makes sense? Okay, so this is going to go at the top and the bottom. Let's redo our greeting quickly. Again, we didn't get too far on this, so whoops, I don't want that. So we'll be okay. Hopefully you have a fun beverage and you're settled down to just enjoy watching some stamping, and you don't have any place you have to be in a hurry since we had to redo part of this. I know a lot of people will watch the replay on YouTube, so they're not watching live anyway, and then hopefully they watch this part at least so that they can get the right measurements for that. All right, sorry about that, kids. Let's go ahead and redo the inside of this. I don't want that greeting. There are 2 of those greetings that are kind of long. So now, of course, I got flustered and I don't know where I put any of my stamps. Sending a jar full of cheer. Here we go. Alrighty, let's go ahead and try this again. The directions are all correct in the PDF and on my blog. Well, I hope so. I'm going to have to go back and double check that on my blog to make sure I didn't put 3 3/4. This needs to be 4. So if you are watching the video right now, just remember that that has to be 4 to make all the other measurements work. All right, we're going to grab our, I'm going to make our jar again. Quickly grab our balmy blue, and let's go ahead and do this again. Then we're going to grab our Trick Cobbler. I'm going to do the ornaments again. These ornaments are kind of fun. You could color the insides with different colors. There we go. We're just going to hang the ornaments in our jar. Okay, now we're going to just make that lid work that we kind of pulled off. Well, we did pull it off. We didn't kind of pull it off. We definitely pulled it off. Just a teeny, teeny, teeny little line of glue here. Let's put this on like so. And we've got, okay, so now we're back where we started. Okay, so here's what we have so far. Here's our fold. I told you a W, so. And then this is the bottom of our card. This is the top. Now we can go back to our, whoops, excuse me, designer series paper and get this sorted. So now this works. So this is 3 3/4 this way, and then, oh, wait a minute. Oh, don't even listen to me right now. Don't listen. That's right, 3 3/4 by 3. Oh, I hate when I get flustered and then I go off the track. Doesn't take too much for my brain to get off the track, my friends. Okay, so let's scooch this in here. Now we do need a greeting on this old olive piece. As I started to say before, these pieces are 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. Yes, that's right. Now we need to stamp on this guy. So let's bring our mat back, our piercing mat. And then our other greeting here is, not that one. Oops, this way. May your heart be filled with joy. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to do this tone on tone. I know it's probably not going to show up as well on the camera, but I didn't want multiple colors of ink for my greetings. You could, you definitely could use black. I just went ahead with green because I thought it showed up well enough. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp this kind of at the bottom of my piece because we are going to get our pop-up mechanism is going to go there. So this goes next. Let's get that on here on the inside of our card. Okay, so like so. And then this is the, it's not Season of Green and Gold. It's, wait, let me look at my tutorial. I have it listed here. It was last year's, one of last year's Christmas papers. It's called Season of Elegance, and it comes in Old Olive, Pretty Peacock, and cherry cobbler and white. No, yeah. And then kind of a basic beige with gold. So they all have gold in them, and I thought, okay, we've got gold up here. Let's, in red, let's get green down here with gold. Okay, so now we've got that. Now, here's the mechanism part we're going to make. Let's go ahead and get, and I set it out here before things got haywire. This is a piece of just basic white that is 1.5 by 2, and I have scored it. Well, you're not going to be able to see the score lines. I've scored it at 1/2, 1, 1.5. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to fold this because this is where the magic happens. It's really easy though. You'll be able to do it. I'm going to burnish to the inside all 4 of these. I should say 3 of these, and it's going to make a little box like this. Okay, get the basic idea. Now, this is important, this part. I'm turning it up on my workspace so that the 2 open ends are together, like that. Okay, now I'm going to put my friend Rose. I saw my friend Rose make this card last week. She put an X on each side to just, for security's sake. And then we're going to, I didn't do that when I made the card because I thought I knew what I was doing, and it turned out perfect, so it's okay. But you want to cover up your X's if you put X's on to help you remember. My tearing tape, I got it too long. Let me go ahead and tear off that end a little bit more. Then I find it helps to use my take your pick tool to lift off the adhesive. I'm going to do this one. Guess it doesn't really matter which one goes down first. Lift off that, and then if it is too long and you've already torn it off, just fold it back on itself, and then that'll take care of it. All right, now this open edge I'm going to put down right at this score line right there. So I'm going to center it. I'm looking right to left to get this centered, and then I'm pressing it down. So now it has stuck like that. Trying to look in the finger. Okay, now I'm just going to close this, or just fold it back down, and then I'm going to just close my card like this, and then now it's there, and there's our magic mechanism. So easy. You can do this even if you're, gosh, I'm trying to look at the camera and everything is backwards, but that's what it looks like from the side. Okay, now my friends, we're going to do the inside of our, we're going to do another jar for the inside. So let's go back to our scrap paper. Oh, we did that, didn't we? We already stamped that, so we're good to go. We do need to stamp some cookies in our jar. So the cookies in the jar have a little shadow behind them. So I've done it both ways, and both ways I think worked okay. I think this is the outline. I better be sure. By outline, I mean the shadow. I think this is the shadow. Let me go ahead and check this on scrap paper. Yeah, that's the shadow. Okay, so I've got cherry cobbler ink here, and I'm going to, whoops, I didn't get that inked very well. All right, now this little corner has this little corner here, so I'm going to kind of look for that to show up in my glass block. And I'm coming down. Pretty good. Actually, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Then let me clean that so we don't have a major catastrophe. Here, get all my stamps lined up. Now, for the filler part, we're going to take pecan pie. We're going to assume these are all ginger cookies. They're going to take pecan pie. Just going to ink that up. I don't know if I told you this was an online exclusive. Did I tell you that? I make sure you have ink all over your stamp. Another good thing about photopolymers, you can kind of tell if you don't have ink everywhere, and I think that's pretty good. Well, it's kind of bubbling up on my stamp. It's a new ink pad. So now I'm just going to come down here, and I'm going to try to, there's a little tiny bow tie on my gingerbread boy, so I'm going to try and line up that bow tie. And I don't think I got it exactly, but we're going to call that good. It's pretty good. And maybe you'd have better luck doing the gingerbread cookie part first and then the outline. I did it both ways, and I felt like I did fairly well with it either way, but that wasn't as good as I could have done, but we're going to just say that's A-okay. And we're going to go ahead and punch this little guy out. Okay, now let's get a lid on our jar again. So I'm going to get rid of all this mess. Everything starts to accumulate to the center here. Let's get our lid out that we did when we first made all of our lids. And I'm going to grab the liquid glue again. And we're going to get this on. Now, I am in the process of planning some Christmas Stamp-A-Stacks, and my plan is to use this little jar set for my first Stamp-A-Stack. since I had my team meeting last night, and then I've been starting to prep my Christmas in July class at the end of July. I have not designed it yet, but I'm planning to use this for my first Stamp a Stack. I'll keep you posted. If you're not on my email list, just make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any of my free tutorials or any of my events. So there's a link. I've already got it in the description, both on Facebook and on YouTube. So there's the subscription link for my email is there. So just scroll down to where it says more, and you'll find the link. Of course, of all days that I don't have anything to drink down here, I have something in my throat. Okay, now let's go back to our basic card here. And we're good. This is going to go down on the top like this. I'm going to start there. I'm telling you guys, this is 10.5 supposed to be. Yep, it is. Okay, it's right. I made this card several days ago because yesterday I was focusing on my team projects. So I'm having a little memory blip at the moment. All right, let me go ahead and glue this down. Now I'm going to kind of fold this up so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to just line this up so that there's just a little bit of a, well, it might be easier to not have it closed actually. You can see it better. So there's about 1/8 of an inch all the way around on my borders or so. Okay. And before that sets, oops, nope, it's kind of crooked here. So that's the good thing about liquid glue. Okay, now we're going to fold this up and we're going to put the glue on this side. Last night for my team, we had we meet on person and on Zoom. And last night, actually everyone was in person. No one could join on Zoom. All right, now did you see how this goes? I'm going to just close that and I'm going to just bring up my card, and it should be pretty much centered, and it isn't completely centered, so I can still lift it up because it's still wet, and then do the same thing here where I have my about 1/8 of an inch. Press that down. Now let's try it again. There we go. So now it has an even border of red around the top and then down here. So I started to say we had last night was our summer potluck. So we had I had pizza for everybody, and then they brought side dishes. And then we do a shoebox swap, which is everybody brings their swap card and all the supplies for it, and then we make each other's cards. Okay, there's probably, I don't think this is how I did it on my first one, but we're going to just go for this. So you're going to set this little guy here, and then I'm going to just go ahead and close this and press. And now I'm just actually folding this side up and pressing so I get it good and pressed against that little mechanism. Can you see that? So that's how that goes, like there. Okay, so there is our card. What do you think, you guys? Would you make this card? You can make this. This is not hard to make. And again, as I said, we're going to put some gems on it. So no card is complete without some kind of gems. I'm going to go through here and just really crease my creases again. There we go. Now, it does make it a little bit bulky, so just use basic white. Don't use basic white thick when you do the inside panel. I think it'll mail easier. Alrighty, now we're going to grab an embellishment that I did have sitting here. Here, let me put these down. You can take a peek at my team cards from last night while I look for my sequins. So these are from last night, where we made these as their make and take. So I always have a make and take packet for everybody, whether they join on Zoom or on if they come in person. So these are last night's cards. And then I have my sequins. It just took me a moment to locate them. Probably should have done this first because they're going to want to slide off my card. So I'm going to just get my glue out and make some dots for this sequence. I'm going to do there, going to do there, going to do one more there. I think I'm going to put 5 on this one. Now your take your pick tool has a putty end, so you can just use that to put down your sequins. There's 3 sizes of these sequins, so there's I think that's the small one. There's a big, medium, and small. I think they're so shiny and pretty. Can you guys see that? I think you can kind of see it. Let's do 2 more down here. Take a little bit of... So even though my paper isn't really a Christmas paper, it does have red and green and blue in it. And I needed all those colors for my card today. So I'm like, okay, I think this is okay. Let's do one more big one. Have we got a big one? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now I set my sequins down, and then if I need to move them, I use the point. So put them down with your putty end, then turn it around, and then just kind of give them a little press with your pointy end and make sure they're where you want them. Okay, my friends, well, that is it for our fancy fold today. And as I said, I send free PDF tutorials to my newsletter list, so make sure you're on that. And when I get my Christmas Stampin' Stack ready to go, I'll be letting you know. I will check your comments here in just a moment, but there's our card. So there it is from the outside, and here it is from the top. Okay, I'm going to pull up your comments now and see what you've got to say, and I'll say, so, hi Angela, oh, I'm glad you like the card. Hi Kathy, I'm really glad you love it. Pam says she loves this card. She'll be making some of these for my Christmas cards. Just for some people will get this. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Hi Liz. Not everyone appreciates the fancier cards, so send those to those who really like them. So true. I'm going to bring up my face as I look at your comments, so I feel like more like I'm talking to you. Pam, I always have to think of the name of the pet and then the take your pick tool. I'm just so glad my people watch me. I'm so glad you're here with me because I'm not the only one. Hi, Paulette. Okay, you watch the replay. She has to go to a hair appointment. All righty. I think that's everybody. Susan, did I say hello to you? And Nancy, hello. And I think I said hello to Georgia as well, and Julie. So thanks so much for being here. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed the video today, and share it and give me a thumbs up. That way more people will see it, and it helps me keep bringing you videos. So I would love your support on that, and I hope I'll see you for the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.